Okay. We're about ready. So, that said, we are ready. First, let me welcome all of you. I really do appreciate the turnout, and I'll explain why I'm doing this in a second. But I do want to thank some people. I'd like to thank both Debbie and Michelle, who helped set up this presentation, Michelle put the slides in. Debbie does what she always does, sets everything up and does all the work. She may make a few comments at the very end, so don't leave when I stop talking, because Debbie has run this kind of a program at another facility and wants to tell you a little bit about her experience within a CCRC and organizing it. So we'll let that go to the end. Meanwhile, I have thanked Debbie and Michelle. I also want to thank my daughter Elaine, who showed me how to edit the slides that were put in. So the editing is my fault, but the learning how to do it is Elaine's fault. And those of you who don't know my family, I'd like to introduce my family just so you know who they are. Going from that end is my brother Jim, who won't stand. None of them need to stand up, I don't think. They'll just raise their hands. But there's my brother Jim, who's here with a walker. He had knee replacement about a week ago and is doing very well. And it's a little embarrassing to have him here in a walker. I wanted him here in a cane. And then it's my daughter Diane, who lives in Atlanta, who is up here just for a couple of days visit. My grandson Justin, who's a rising sophomore at the University of Wisconsin. I wear the University of Wisconsin's vest every so often, which is bright red. Most of you think it's North Carolina State, but it's not. The W does not stand for state, but we'll let it go. And then is my daughter Elaine, who's the one who helped me, who lives in Summit, New Jersey. She's Justin's mother. And then my wife, Roberta, that you all know, I hope. And then I've got Adrian Himmelberg, who is sitting behind Justin, who is one of Elaine's friends from high school and is one of those wonderful friends that she's had, and I'd like all her friends. But she's had the same group for, 10 years? 10 years, yeah. And next to Adrian is Margaret, who is my brother Jim's wife, Stig's wife, sorry. So Roberta will tell you, every time I try to say Stig, I say Jim. Every time I say Jim, I say Stig. It runs in the family. My father did the same thing with 5 boys. And one time he put in Happy, in the dog, in this list of addressing us. It runs in the family. Anyway, Stig, you'll see at the very end, because I've got a brochure for him to hand out to you, which gives you all the contact information, a little history about the honor flight program, where it started, and so on. So Stig will pass out a one-page brochure back to back that gives you this kind of information. So if you want to know who do I call or what's the website, that kind of stuff, it's all on that printout. That means we don't have to go through it in the lecture. And I think that's pretty much it. So let me get a little bit going here. The honor flight that I the honor flight I participated in involves 2 different dates this year. It was April 6th and April 24th. April 6th is the pre-flight meeting where we met at a church in Kernersville. Do you remember the name of it? The Cross Church. The Cross Church. Oh, the Crossing Church. Okay, yeah. There are 2 of them. It turns out that if you try to follow GPS, it'll take you to one of the 2. So it's important to know which street this one is on, because obviously on other sides of town, as you would expect any kind of confusion to occur, and that's what, so we went to the wrong one, but we got to the right one in time. Okay, so the first meeting was about at 8 o'clock on the 6th of April, which was just an introductory meeting explaining what was going to happen, and most people went to that meeting, not everybody, and I will talk about guardians in a second. Our guardian was at a wedding or my guardian was at a wedding in Georgia, so didn't get back for this thing. But basically, I took the notes she needed and all the rest, so we took care of that. The next date, and I'm going to cover a set of photos from both places. The next date is the 24th of April. That's the honor flight activity. We met in the morning at PTI Airport in Greensboro, flew to Washington, D.C., spent the day there, and flew back in the evening. So this is a one-day effort. Okay, so my lecture, this is my introduction, obviously. I'm going to discuss and show about a dozen pictures from the pre-flight meeting to include my favorite picture of the whole day, which I'll get to. And then the second part of this will be on the actual day of flight. And then the last video is of the reception back at PTI when we came in the evening, which is a highlight of all my films. I mean, it is, you will remember it when you see it. And the last thing, time permitting, that means I have to go a little faster. Debbie will add something at the end of the meeting from her experiences and tell you what she's done with it. Whoops, wrong. Debbie, I just undid something. I meant to push one thing and I turned everything off. Thank goodness you're here. I was trying to hit the next, just my thumb moved. Here we go. Yep. Okay, so we're now going to the pre-flight day on the 6th, in the morning of the 6th. We walked into the church. This is the entrance to the church, and there were a bunch of Girl Scouts standing around in front. And I heard the command, present arms, the kind of an 11-year-old voice. And all of a sudden, you see these young girls saluting. And this is my favorite picture because of this girl at the end here. I've never been saluted by anybody that wears pink shoes. or she is looking to see what I think about this. As I was walking with my brother Stig, and I keep talking about I did this. Stig and I went together, and I'll explain a little bit about that in a second. But anyway, this is the presentation, and she is obviously curious as to how I'm reacting to this thing, waiting to see if I saluted. And all the veterans do the same thing. We're going through in groups of 1 or 2 or 3, and we all saluted back, even though it violates all rules of because I'm in civilian clothes coming in there. So there, if you're in civilian clothes, you should be putting your hand over your heart. You don't salute. But these are really loose kind of things. So anyway, I saluted whenever we had a chance. And anyway, I love this picture. I love the young lady. So here we go. This is my brother Stig and I. The trip involved 3 people from this area. My trip did, Stig and I. Stig is the instigator. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I would never apply for this kind of a trip if I were alone. Just not the kind of thing I do. I'm not a joiner, and I don't do these kind of things very much. But Stig says, basically, I'd like to do it, and you're coming with me. Steve is a little more assertive than I am in those things. Well, if you know me, you know I don't do these things. Anyway, so Stig is the one who kind of joined, got us signed up. From that point on, we had contact either by telephone or by email or by text with different people in the organization that wanted some information from us. But he's the one who is responsible for this whole thing. And I'm very thankful he did it. And I'd like to kind of just point out, the reason I'm giving this talk is not to give him a lot of compliments or accept compliments. I did this because I was surprisingly appreciative of what happened, and I really felt good after the end of it. And I think there's so many other veterans in our community who have not done this, and I'm trying to find a way to explain that it is so easy to do, and they take such phenomenally good care of you. There's no reason not to go, no matter what your age is. The oldest veteran was 99, or your health is. They basically, one of the medics there said, "We will bring you, if we have to carry you in a stretcher, we'll carry you on this trip." They are really good, and I'm hoping you'll pick up as we go along some of the things they did to make it easier for people who have limited mobility or other disabilities. But fundamentally, they'll take care of anybody. Okay, we checked in, and the first thing we did was just give them their names and show them our IDs and things, and to let them know that this is now pre-flight now. We're just checking in and going in. There's some colors here. I don't know if you can see my, whoops. Well, again. There we go. I keep pushing the wrong button. That's me. You see the colors here. The yellow colors are volunteers. So anytime you see anybody with that colored shirt, that's a volunteer. The person in the hat here, in the Uncle Sam costume, is a woman called Allison Huber. She is the big honcho for triad flight, for the triad honor flight. Now, let me just tell you a little bit about honor flights. It is a program nationwide, and Greensboro has just one small part of it. There are over 120 different honor flight organizations in the country. This is one, and this one says 2 flights a year. So it doesn't mean that every single location has 2 flights, but it means there are a lot of flights out there. So on the Washington end of it, they're constantly welcoming an honor flight, which tells you how incredible the organizational effort is throughout the country, particularly in Washington. But the Greensboro group, I think these volunteers that did this are fantastic. Okay, so we go on. We're checking in here. And they feed you all day long, and they give you water all day long. So you never get a chance to go hungry. It starts with fruit and then some chips and some, the big buns you get from the muffins you get from Costco. They have those and whatever else. But if you do this when you come in, and if you then go over and sit down and you're waiting for something, they're still going to bring it around to you, as you'll see. Okay, this is the first stuff they gave us. Okay, this is the first stuff ooh. Can you hear me all right? Yeah. This is the stuff they give us. The first bag is this bag. It contains a jacket, a hat, a t-shirt. So I'm going to do this. Well, let me do this. Just so you can see my t-shirt. And what? Oh, there's a little bit of commercialism to this too, but and the pièce de résistance. I hope the camera catches this. So I'm fully in uniform today. Anyway, we get this, and there's another red bag given out to the people who accompany us, and I'm going to talk about guardians in a second. The guardians get red. They don't get as much as we did, but they get a T-shirt and a hat. They don't get the jacket, but there is a store, or kind of a shop facility that will sell jackets to a guardian that wants to buy one. Okay. Oh, wrong way. We go sit down, and Stig and I are used to sitting in the back row of churches, so we went into the back, and the first thing that they said was, if you've checked in, move to the front. So we did that, and moved to the front. If you can see the pictures in the back there, part of the process early in the game is they ask you to send a photo from your military service. And so you send in a kind of a picture from the past. Stig, you'll see Stig's in a second, but this is one that was when we walked in. This is Stig's. He said, I want one that look really good. So he said that. I'm a little looser. I said a combat picture of when I was a district advisor working with the junk fleet that was intercepting fishing boats that might be smuggling weapons and things. So I was out with them one day. It wasn't what I did often, but I really like the picture because I'm carrying my .357 Magnum on my hip. I mean, and you can tell the date of the picture a little bit because these are not camouflage uniforms. About 2 years later, the U.S. Army learned that if you wear white name tags and with bright yellow going through the jungle, it isn't smart. So they went to camouflage fatigues, and from that point on, the Army has, as all the services have had camouflage fatigues continuously. So anyway, it just dates it a little bit. The reason I'm carrying a .357 Magnum there is they issued me a carbine. And a carbine fires a very small round. It can fire it fairly fast, but very small round, and it doesn't have a lot of stopping power. And a .357 will stop a bull elephant. I mean, it is a really powerful pistol. And I never had to use it, but I carried it for my own psychological thing. So we let that go, and we move on to Alison Huber then gave some remarks, and she gave us a talk about what to expect on the thing. They said, she said, basically, from the time you get on, we'll keep you hydrated, and you have to be careful when you get there. Wear good shoes on the way, and you're going to be tired at the end. If you are limited mobility and you get tired along the way, we'll have extra chairs for you. Not wheelchairs, well, kind of wheelchairs, but basically traveling chairs along for people like me, and people who might need it. And I said, I don't need it. Meanwhile, Stig and Rachel, who came along with me, basically said, have one ready for him. I didn't use it, but they do worry about you, and they want to make sure that toward the end, you'll see that what happens as the day goes along a little bit. Okay, she's just giving opening remarks and telling me that she did say one thing that was wise, and that is all veterans should carry 2 days worth of medications with them in case the flight is not able to come back. In case, as was happened in the last couple of days, flights canceling around. The plane is dedicated. So the plane flies up there and parks somewhere with it stays there waiting for you, and you get your same seat on the way back. It was an American Airlines flight, not Delta, but American. Anyway, they're very good about that, but it could still be that they can't take off. So they said, or the advice is bring at least 1, if not 2 days worth of medications to take care of that, which clearly it makes good sense. Okay, so the program there is what this. I just want to, much of it is entertaining. A young man playing the national anthem on a banjo, a student musician who was very good. The presentations of the colors by a Boy Scout troop. The remarks basically saying, thanks for your service, good luck, is a General Gorman who is somehow associated with the North Carolina National Guard. I don't know what his job is, but he is a really good entertainer, and he's a comedian. He tells some really good jokes along the way, but he also is very serious. He's religious. He leads different prayers. So he's an all-around kind of entertainment person in this area. And then notches to all the organizations that support Honor Flight, that provide goodies to you. Like you get a goodie bag, and like the shirts that basically they get a tremendous deal from the companies from. So she gives credit to them. One of the supporters, just so you know, of Honor Flight from Greensboro is Wellsprings. So one way or the other, you are contributing, whether you know it or not, you know. But Wellsprings contributes to this. And at the end of the presentation, my brother Steve will be in the back giving you the handout that has information on who to contact, phone numbers, email addresses, and all the rest, if you want to pass this along. That information is going to be really useful to some people. So I'm not really talking to just the veterans. I'm encouraging any veteran in the room to sign up for it. But if you know a veteran, or if you're married to a veteran, if you have ever any relatives or friends who are veterans, please pass on the word that this is a good program and easy to deal with, and it's something that veterans should consider. Okay. Oh, I keep not looking what I'm touching. This is what Alison Huber told us in his speech. The Guardian, which I'm going to cover in a second, should be with you at all times, taking care of you. Wear comfortable shoes. Wear two things. Either wear the uniform we issued you, which is the shirt, the jacket, and the hat for the trip, so they can identify you in a crowd, and if you get lost wandering around, they know what they're looking for. Or else wear your uniform. Only one guy wore his uniform. And he stands out whenever you see the picture and see a guy in absolutely white uniform while everybody else is in these blue things. But he wore his uniform. All the more credit to him, because I don't think there are many of us who would fit into our uniforms of 50 years ago. He did, and it is impressive the way he did it. Bring medication along, no pocket knives. Now, you don't worry about security per se, because everything is screened. I'll get to that in a second. There are 4 buses that handle the crew of about 100 veterans and their accompaniments. So there are 4 buses, and they're color-coded: red, green, blue, and orange. We were orange. And you'll see, I'll get to this in a second. We were orange, and we rode on the orange bus, and they could tell you right away if you're in the right bus or not, because you're color-coded, and you wear this, and you'll see this in numerous pictures. Okay, you have a bus captain. Our bus captain was a woman named Shelby. I'll show you a picture in a second. If you have any issues, there's a medical team along on every bus and on the plane. So if you have any problems, you ask that medical team for help. Take lots of pictures along the way, and be honored, but recognize that people are honoring you, and enjoy the experience. Okay, this is me after the meeting. I'm back now. This is at the entrance to the residence entrance. You can see the stuff I'm carrying here. Whoops, come on now. I'm carrying the bags and stuff that have been issued, and I also have the red bag up there. There. That's the red bag. That's the one for my guardian, who I'll cover in a second. Okay, we go on. Here's some simple questions. What is a veteran? I had an argument with an older brother who served in the Army after the Korean War, from about 56 to 59 or thereabouts. And I said, you should take advantage of this program. He said, no, I wasn't like the two of you in combat or during wartime. So I'm not eligible for this. And I said, no, a veteran is someone who has served. And that's it. If you served 2 years not during a wartime, you weren't lucky enough to get shot at, you know, but you served, you're still a veteran, and you're eligible for this program. Now, the program is geared for veterans over the age of 75. They want to honor the senior veterans, which eliminates a lot of the guys out there because they're not that old, but you have to be 75 or older to be eligible for it, and generally they take the oldest first. They want the World War II veterans right now because there are not a lot left, and if you're a World War II veteran, take advantage of it while you can is kind of the thing. And the Korean veterans are coming up, and I talked to one who said, oh, I can't, we're next. I can't wait. But it's done pretty much by age and to a certain extent by health. So they want the people who are not going to be around forever to go and take advantage of it while you can. Okay, here's the term guardian. A guardian can have you can call it something, you can call it companion if you like. Basically, no veteran is allowed to go by himself because they're afraid veterans are infirm and they're going to fall or whatever. So you have a guardian that's appointed to go with you. It starts with the idea that they have your name and they're going to take a volunteer and have that volunteer accompany you on the whole flight. In reality, it doesn't work that way exactly, but that's the idea, and that's what they kind of prefer. But there are a lot of veterans who want their own guardian. For example, you might want a son or a daughter or a grandchild to accompany on this. I would have wanted Justin to accompany me, my grandchild, because he's big and strong. He can carry me most of the time, so I wouldn't have had to walk as far. But he was in college, so I mean it didn't meet the schedules. So, but you're allowed to pick your own. If you pick your own, you have to pay for the flight. If you let them pick the volunteer, then you don't pay for the accompaniment. So it's a trade, and the people. I asked Rachel Heath, who is one of our therapists, to go. To begin with, she is a veteran herself. She's not 65, but she's a veteran, and the guardians have to be less than, I think, they have to be less than 70 years old. Because our thought was Stieg would be my guardian and I would be his guardian. and I got a phone call from one of the guys who I was dealing with who said, "Ooh, well, let's think about this one." So it didn't work out. So we're both over 80, so we can't. We're not allowed. We don't fit into that category. So we were not guardians. I got Rachel to be mine. And actually, he got a volunteer, a woman who is not from Washington. She's from Ohio, and they flew 3 volunteer. She was living in D.C. Okay. Anyway, she's from D.C., so when we got to D.C., she accompanied him fundamentally for the rest of the time while we were there. Okay, so veterans selected for the honor flight, you go online and you contact them there, and you will see that on the handout I give you, or you can call the numbers. There's a telephone number there for triad on a flight. you can call that and ask to be put into the system. You will then be contacted by kind of an action person, contact person, who will call you, tell you what the requirements are. They want your medical history and in detail, because they want to know exactly what your medical needs are, because that affects a variety of things. It affects seat assignment on the plane, essentially. The healthier you are, the further back you go on the seating chart. So the worse shape you're in, you go first class. It is anyway. So they spend a lot of time doing that. I had contact with the nurse who's in charge of the program, who said, "Tell me about this surgery you had back in 1968," kind of. So, but they look at this very closely, because as they look to assign you a companion or a guardian, that guardian has to be knowledgeable about your medical condition. So if you take certain medications that causes you to behave some certain ways, the guardian needs to know that. Anyway, that's part of what the guardian stuff is about. The veterans are selected basically by age, and I'm not certain whether the priority for the number of units you've been in or else, and I don't know the procedures they go through when they fill a flight exactly, but essentially it's done primarily by age, and health is not a big consideration in that. And so here, what do you get? You know, what kind of do you get? I don't know if you can see. I'm going to tear this out so you can see it. On the flight up, they opened a bag, and in the bag they found each veteran got each veteran got a flag. And there's an organization of women back here.
Hold them up while you do that.
There's an organization of women in Greensboro, and I'm not sure if it's a women's club or what, but it may be done through the women's club, that makes one of these for every veteran on every flight. So there are 2 flights a year, so they're making about 200 of those a year. You know, there are an awful lot of volunteers that contribute to this program, and you get the variety of pins and for different things. Just these are the coins you use, that kind of souvenir coins for different kinds. There's a Vietnam service activity thing. You get a little flag. And you get, there's an organization on the West Coast called Operation Gratitude that sends you a bag full of doodads. That includes sunscreen, hand washing lotion, lip balm, electrolyte, tubes with electrolyte that you can put in all the water bottles they give you. I mean, it is, I don't know why this organization on the West Coast it's called Operation Gratitude, and how they send this to, you know, there are 200 different places that get this stuff, and I'm not sure that everybody gets the same thing. So it could be that it's just tied into Greensboro. Those are kind of the esoteric stuff that I don't have answers to, but anyway, it's really, you get a lot of stuff, if I could put it that way. Plus, at the end of the trip, you get a bag of letters from mostly school children that are written, like first, second, third graders. I have teachers, first, second, third graders, have teachers who encourage the kids to write to veterans to thank them for their service. So every letter basically starts, "Thank you for your service." And they try different things that are, thank you, okay. and you get, I mean, there are a lot of letters. So you also get some letters from friends in different situations. But anyway, so you get this bag of letters. I'm going to show you a couple that I think are just, kids are funny. You know, the old show, kids say the strangest things. They also write the strangest things. And they're being told to write. And the teachers are not editing, I guarantee you. And I'm going to show you just a couple that I just found. It makes you smile and think they're kids trying to say the right thing. They just don't know quite how to express themselves yet. Okay, so you also get some photographs. One. That's the photograph of the entire group taken in Washington, D.C. And I'll show you that. I'll talk about that a little more in a second. The other is a photograph when you come in to the pre-flight thing. They take a picture of you when you come in. And I really like my picture. And I mean, I think it doesn't make me look any better than I look, but it makes me look really what I look like today. So I said, I'm going to take that. So I'm going to show it to you now. And I'm letting you know this, the next time you see it. But I really, but beware. I really like the picture. So it's, don't feel sad for me. At least you can say he got what he wanted, you know. But I really like this picture, so. Okay, so let me get on to the trip again. We got all these souvenirs. Now we're going to the flight day. And just on the flight, just so you kind of get a sense of who's on this flight, of this group of about 100, there were definitely 3 World War II vets. 2 of them, one of them was on our plane, or no, on our bus. He was in orange. And another one was blue. And I have no idea what happened to the third one. I didn't see him. I don't have any photographs of him. Now, he might have stayed on the bus when we were in D.C. because he might not have been feeling well. I mean, I don't know what his health conditions is, and so nobody said anything about where he was. I suspect he went out and some things, but wasn't out a long time. I just didn't see him very much. And the point is, when you're on this trip, if you are not feeling well, you don't have to participate in every event. You don't have to walk out all the time. You can stay on the air-conditioned bus while everybody else is roaming around one of the memorials. And so you're not forced to do anything. There were 16 Korean War vets. There are 10 tweeners. Tweeners are veterans who served between wars. So between the Korean War, or between World War II and Korea, there's a space of several years when we were not at war. Between Korea and Vietnam, there's a space of about 7 years when we were not at war, technically. So they're not credited as Korean War veterans or Vietnam veterans. They're just betweeners. So, and Vietnam, I say that there were about 10. I didn't get a final number from anybody. 7? Oh, no, Vietnam, there were 70. About, again, it's approximate, but the vast majority of the veterans were there. And this is not dealing with that group, but I did want to make sure that we know there were women involved here. There were 7 nurses who came along. One came with her husband, and they were both Korea War veterans. They had met, I think, in Korea and got married and been married since the end of the Korean War. So it was kind of unusual. There were 3 sets of brothers, for what it's worth. We weren't the only set that was along on this trip. Okay, so this is important because this is 5 minutes to 6 in the morning. The only really bad thing about the trips, you had to be at the airport at 6 in the morning. And This is 5 minutes to 6 when we were getting there, and I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that I was there and awake. You will rarely see that happen. So, so this is the morning of the thing, and it's like going to a carnival. The place is, this is PTI, the Piedmont Triad International Airport, where we walked in. All kinds of decorations, people dressed up, flags, buntings, all over the place. The honor flight volunteers basically were decorators. So you're met there. Here's one of the veterans coming in with his guardian pushing him. Note that he's in a travel chair. So once again, they take care of anybody who has medical needs. And he is, I think he's a Vietnam veteran, if I recall correctly. Here's another veteran coming in and greeting the morning. I was the photographer, so there were not that many pictures of me. Therefore, that's me. Volunteers again, same yellow shirts, same one as on the pre-flight, same color as pre-flights. Once again, you can see they're bringing fluids to us because they want to keep us hydrated all day long. This is the most important woman in the trip, kind of, in the pre-flight or in the flight, because you come in and check with her, you give her the ID, identify yourself. Once you've identified yourself, she gives you, in this case, she did the orange bus people. She gives you a container, like a little doohickey like this, that you hang around your neck. It doesn't look like much, but it's got all kinds of useful things on it. One is it has your seat assignment recorded on it. I was in 17C, your plane seat assignment. It's got your name and tells you orange bus, because you can't tell the color, you know. It also has inside it, and this an organization does things smart. If it has inside it the name of your bus leader, the name of the medic assigned to your bus, the name of it gives you Alison Huber, who was the one in the Uncle Sam outfit, her telephone number, and the chief of the nurses that with all their telephone numbers. So if you have to contact them along the way or when you get back, you have it all here. I thought this was really clever. The most useful thing, among other things, was your seat number, seat assignment. Okay, so you wear this for the rest of the trip. Once you wear this, that means you've been cleared through everything. So when you go to get on the plane, you don't go through a lot of screening. You have this, and you just walk through, and it is so easy. So we go from here. Basically, we sit around for a while waiting to board. This is Shelby, our bus leader, who is coming by. Said, anybody want coffee? And I didn't take it, but somebody did. This is a Korean veteran. Now, we all were issued this hat. There are veterans, both Vietnam and Korean veterans, that basically would want you identify with the war. So they wore a Vietnam veteran or Korea veteran, as opposed to the honor flight thing. I stuck with the honor flight thing, and I don't. Anyway, here's another guy in a travel chair. This is a World War II veteran, one of the 2 World War veterans that I could find. He's on the blue bus, and again, he's being pushed around at this time. The veteran on our bus, the older guy, who was 99, who was a resident of Seven Springs, he essentially was a little more, let's say, vibrant. He walked and stood more, although he was pushed in a chair for long distances. Volunteers, here's a woman who brought her son to help with the volunteers. I think it's probably cheaper than getting a babysitter. Remember, this is 6 in the morning, so I got to give the kid credit for being up there. Alison Huber talked to us again. This is this general from the National Guard leading us in prayer. We had a band show up and play for us. This is Rachel Heath, for those of you who don't know her, who is one of our therapists, who was my guardian, standing with Stig. Stig's guardian meets him in Washington, so she's just kind of standing there to smile. If you see Rachel, tell her, it's a really nice picture of you. I particularly liked your hair. Your hair is really nice. She said, don't show any pictures of me unless my hair looks good. So if you see her, tell her your hair looks nice. We're ready to leave. They have, as you might expect, a flag ceremony. I just like this picture because look at the heights of those guys on the right there. And look at the tallest guy next to the shortest guy. Why do we do that, you know? Okay, we're going through under the flag to get on the plane. I just want to give credit to the Women's Club of Greensboro, who were both right here. They were there to see us off. They were very active when we came back. They've all signed this big banner they're holding, but I thought it was quite impressive. They made the president note. Okay, we're going on to the plane, and once again, we don't have to go through security. We go through the metal detector, but we don't. Nobody's stopped for whatever. You just walk through, and they don't check you because you're wearing your magic totem, whatever we call that. At this point, I stopped and had breakfast, and it was from one of the local chicken places, and they have very good fruit cups. I thought it was interesting. The fruit cup was really good. It was fresh fruit, nicely cut up. We get on the plane. This is our senior medic for the orange group. Notice he's, come on, stop doing that. Notice he's orange, which tells you he's on the orange bus with us too. He gives us a lecture later on. He's just getting people oriented.
And the decorations on the airplane.
Yeah, and note the plane is totally decorated with flags and buntings and colors and things. And the plane is dedicated to us. We put our stuff away when we got in. When we got to D.C., they said, you can leave your stuff in the plane. Don't leave it in your seats because we have a cleanup crew coming in, but put it in the overhead bin and you'll get the same seats back when you leave. So you can leave your stuff on the plane. We did the same thing with the buses. Okay, we go on. Alison Huber is along. She's giving us guidance. We get to D.C. I said there was one guy who wore his uniform. It stands out. You can't miss him. Okay, with we're getting into D.C. And getting on the bus here, putting stuff away. This is our bus guide, who was very good, and he talked about the monuments and all the rest. This is not a travelogue, so I'm not going to tell you. I'm just going to move through the monuments so you can see where we went, kind of, but not a talk about each one of them. But he discussed in detail what these monuments were how long they'd been around. Now, here's one of the things that are really impressive. Whenever the buses stopped at different monuments, we were met by a crowd of supporters that were welcoming us, that were applauding, and you know, wherever you get off. How they organize this, you know, if they have 200 flights a year coming in, how they get these groups, but they were there. Sometimes bands, sometimes cheerleaders, always crowds, and at every stop. It was just incredible. This is the World War II Memorial. That's where they're going to take the picture. And I'm going to go a little faster because I'm running somewhat slow here. World War II memorial is every star stands for 100 deaths. So there are 3,600 stars or something. But I like the picture only because you have the reflections on the bottom of the water. But there you see more of the stars. Because we had the World War II veterans along, in this particular case, in some of the sites, we dedicated a new wreath at that site. This is our senior guy, the 99-year-old from the Orange Bus, who is dedicating this thing. We're gathering for our picture, and it takes a while to get everybody all worked up, lined up. They brought in some volunteers who sat in the front. They were not in the official pictures, but they sat in earlier pictures. They were part of the welcoming crowds. And here we line up for a picture. Now, you probably can see me there. Oh, wait a minute. If you can see, there's one balding head. See, can you see that? You see this? And that was an accident. I mean, you don't know when he's going to take the picture. And I was looking for Rachel, and I said, basically, Rachel, here. And that's when he snapped the picture. Let me show you it in close-up. This is very blurry, but once you can see, that's definitely a guy with glasses. That has a lot of hair, but just doesn't show up as much as I have, you know. But in I can't say there's always a showboat that ruins every picture, you know. Here. Anyway, I'm not going any further with that one. Okay, just so we're getting back on the buses. This is the handicapped entrance, kind of, where they have a lift. So if you cannot walk up the steps, they'll bring you in whatever you're sitting in and bring it up on the lift and put you in the back of the bus there. If you are walking if you are capable of walking up the steps but are still in a carrier because you don't want to walk all over the place, then they'll put the carriers under the buses. They did the same thing with the planes. So they go with you wherever you go. Okay, here we are, smiling, and she's looking, oh, her hair looks nice. And we had lunch from Arby's. In this case, it was a roast turkey sandwich. And you can have water or soda as you wish. And you have all that powder if you want hydration stuff. This is the Korean monument. Just for what it is. Anywhere around the monument, one of those dismal soldiers is looking at you. Wherever you go, somebody is looking at you. In this case, I think this guy here is the one looking at us, but basically they're looking at 360 degrees. Okay, I'm not spending time on the monuments. At the Korean monument, somebody had been there before us on a flight from southern Nevada. So we had two wreaths behind. This was someone had left earlier. Here is the crowd meeting us again. This was a chorus, singing group, a choral group. I actually have a video of this. I have the chorus, but you're not going to get it here. Okay, this is the nurses' monument, and Rachel is dropping off a scrunchie. They do that that was kind of a tradition at the nurses' monument. They, pull a scrunchie out of your hair if you have it and drop it there. I like to say she was stealing a scrunchie because you can't tell whether she's putting one or taking one up. But she really did bring a scrunchie and put it down there. Okay, this is now Stig and me at the Vietnam Memorial. This is the Marine Memorial. I kept these pictures. We didn't stop here. We just drove by it. But Iwo Jima Memorial. Anyway, I really liked the picture, so I threw it in there. But then we went to the changing of the guard ceremony in Arlington. Very nice ceremony, and we got the secret information. Just if you don't know this, they are very meticulous. Every step is exactly the same length, and they're trained to make it, 21.5 inches or something. Every step is exactly right, and he walks heel toe, so you don't hear things unless there's somebody in the audience that he wants to and he's got to keep his eyes totally focused. He's not allowed to look on the side. But he knows if he's got a VIP, like the president or somebody in the audience, and they have a way of showing respect toward that thing. So with veterans, they do the same thing, where they, instead of going heel toe, they slightly scuff their foot. So you can hear slightly the scuffing, which theoretically you're not supposed to hear at all, but they do it only as a form of saluting where they're not allowed to salute. Okay, we're now getting toward the end, the Three Musketeers here, and going back onto the plane. Note again, when I want to go back there, wherever you go, some volunteers have decorated. You can't, it is incredible, the amount of people who are involved in this. We get back on the plane. Now, see the woman here in gray, she is gray as opposed to other colors. That makes her a photographer or kind of an administrator help. She is the one that on the way up opened a big container that gave us the blanket you saw. On the way back, she opens another container and gives us the letters. And it is so big. I mean, I'm going to say 80 letters or so in there. So you're on the flight on the way back, so you only see a couple of small number of them. Then you bring them home and you read them and they're really nice. I mean, some of them were very sincere. There's some from friends that say, "Hope you deserve this kind of, which is nice." Huh? Roberta had asked some friends to add some to it. Okay, we go on. It's about to get good, so be patient. This guy here is the head of the local veterans, Veterans Association, VFW, for Greensboro, and he gives everybody, all the veterans, another medallion, and thanks them for their service. I presume he knows many of them, they're probably members of VFW there. We go on, and 2 returning veterans, delighted to be home. And now, next one, you're going to ask, what am I looking at now? This is the beginning of a video. Rachel had run out of power for her phone, so I gave her my phone. So she used my phone for the rest of the last video, which is us coming into Greensboro at night, in the evening. This is 8:30 in the evening. We come into Greensboro, and this is the only time that we have a kind of revolt by the veterans, because we get in and we're standing, coming off the plane. We're now gathering in a room like this. So there are 100 veterans, and Alison Huber is running around saying, "You can't go out yet, you have to wait." And we said, "Well, we're ready, we have people waiting for us, whatever." And she says, "No, we're not ready, hold them back." Well, you can do this with 100 veterans for a while, but all of a sudden the crowd kind of pushes, and she says, "We got to go up, we got to sort out by groups. World War II first, then Korea, then tweeners, then Vietnam, and kind of line up in 3s and 4s, and we're going out." And we said, "No," and you saw the whole crowd is pushing, and I was standing next to her. When she's looking around, she says, "They won't stop." And one of her other volunteer aides said, "I can't stop there," she said. And I didn't hear her say it, but I know she was thinking, son of a bitch. I know it. So she runs up to the front and is still trying to stop him. Finally, she said, okay, they're ready. And she opens the doors, and we go out as 3 or 4 people abreast as we're going out into this. This is the highlight and my favorite part. Oh, well, no, I got to remember. This is really impressive. First is the motorcycle game. You don't know, everybody applauded. And it's like forever. And everybody's applauding. You don't really know what to do. And they started, I saw some people wanting to shake hands. So I started shaking hands with the motorcycle bunch. And then as we went along, more people basically started shaking hands. So I ended up shaking hands with well, you'll see 50 people, and when I wasn't shaking hands, I was basically applauding the crowd. And so I was doing that. I just wanted them to know we appreciate them coming. But look at this. They had 1,000. They had 1,000 or more volunteer observers come from Greensboro to welcome these veterans. Now I didn't know, I'm going to show you something very quickly, and you're going to see in passing. Notice this guy here, saluting. I didn't notice that when we were going through. I only picked it up when I watched it, and he's standing there. He stood this way for the whole parade, and it looks like somebody's conducting that parade. Well, I'm not sure if it was one of the regiments that provide on duties in Buckingham Palace, or whether the Danes had something in their. So I don't know what country this guy was from, but I didn't notice it until I saw the video afterwards. Anyway, we're still going down. I remember shaking hands with the kids, and I'm sure somebody's saying, "What's a pedophile doing down?" You know. It is an incredible experience when you have, upset 1,000 people exit to the exit. Notice I'm not the only one shaking hands. What they're saying is that basically it's saying, welcome home, the idea. It's mostly intended for Vietnam veterans who were not afforded a warm welcome when they returned. So it's part of it is you weren't welcome before, you're welcome to Vietnam, which is a really nice story. And I'm sure there are a lot
I'll take one. Thank you. There we go.
I got mine. But it was like it was never ending.
Thank you,
this,
Shelby.
you went
Thank you.
up,
It was awesome. You guys are
everywhere you went, this kind of this corridor of people. Okay, then. This is the net result of all this crowd. the traffic jam to get out of the airport was backed up about a quarter mile in one direction, in that direction to the left there, and our bunch was maybe an eighth of a mile, solid bumper to bumper. Okay, now I've talked about these letters. I'm just going to show you a couple of letters, and then that's going to be. This is Grayson 23. Thank you for protecting our state. And let me get back to that. Somebody tell me what state that is that's got 10 stars and a blue field. I mean, and the thought is good. I mean, it's a thank you. And on the right is another one from Kendall. It's not the front with the flag and the thing, but on the back of this is the one on the left there, a thank you on top, then unwritten on his script. Divided we stand, divided we fall. Now, is that a description of the present political atmosphere in this country? I said, this guy is a political commentator. You know, and when you've got a little kid who's he's heard something about united we stand, divided we fall, but he has not picked up on the entire, and he's trying to express that, so you'd have to give him credit for his thought. On the left is a long description, this is a letter, I'm not going to go with that one, but thank you for your, Gunner, love, thank you for your service. Solider, thank you for your work. Once again, he's trying to express a patriotic idea, and I like the picture, so that's okay. This from Lindley, thank you for your services. I love to be an Army girl, I fly in a jet. And I'm not doing this to make fun of the kids, because I really think the kids are doing their best and all the rest. Okay, I've got to the end of mine. Debbie, you want to add anything? This is, I'm on your time frame, I apologize, but Debbie has run this, basically gone through this in other cases.
Good afternoon, everyone. Let me be on. You can stay there. You can stay there. As we were putting this program together, what a pleasure, and thank you. Please let him know that we thank him. This is your welcome home. Thank you. In Indiana, as he mentioned in the very beginning, this is regional. Regions of the United States per states. Some of them group states, some of them do not. They do this twice a year, continuously. The purpose, to catch, to get every single veteran to participate before they go. One thing that really touched me was that whoever has priority are those who are terminally ill. We run this program in Indiana, and again, you are in contact with the main office. There are a lot in the country, and then they provide you with the instructions of what to do. They will contact you personally, they assign a person for you, and it will be a guardian angel. This person contacts you way before. They get to know you, they transport you there, they bring you back, and you gain a friend for life. Spouses are not allowed to go if they are not members of the military. That is something clear. They find it distracting, and it's a liability for them. This is focused, as you heard him say. It's grueling also, but it's an incredible day in your life, yes?
Yes, indeed.
There are 100 letters in that box, sir, collected from family members, friends, and children of local schools, churches, members of the government, etc. When I did it, with my group in Indiana, our oldest veteran was 104. And he made it there and back. So we had a ceremony, actually it was a party. And they all got a crocheted blanket, red, white, and blue. There were 3 at the time. And a party with government officials coming from Indianapolis and everything else. It is from the heart that we thank the people who defended our country for us to be here today. So if we get to do it here, which I hope, we will just only do the same. So just keep it in mind. It is a very hard day, not?
Yeah, it's a long day.
It's a long day, but you get to visit these places. People are all about you in return for what you did for our country. So keep it in mind. Thank you very much for being here today, for letting us know about your adventures. And the second part of this will be a birthday party. Since you are here, please join us in the tavern for the monthly birthday party. It is pouring outside, so you cannot go out, okay? So that way. Have a great afternoon, and thank you, Mr. Egede Nissen.